California is in some pretty deep trouble. So, California has always been a place where tech companies chill, rich CEOs buy big mansions and luxury penthouses, and pretty much everyone just having a good time. And of course, paying crazy high taxes for the state. And for a lot of these companies, it's worth it. It was innovation, LA for the cultural, and the film hub. You got San Francisco as a tech hub. And then a little above San Francisco, you got Napa Valley, the wine area. It's just a really, really good state with so much to offer. But now, instead of California having an excess surplus of cash in its bank, it's facing a massive deficit. It's also owing a lot of money. Not great for a state who used to have a ton of glory. Now, if you check out what's going on here, you do see California's budget deficit blows up. Okay, the rich guys who are paying 40 to 47, 48% of the state's taxes, they don't really have that much money anymore. On top of that, they are not happy to be paying this much taxes. If you have a startup in California, let's say you're in San Francisco, and your business is doing pretty good, and you're heavily in tech, you're making let's say $1 million a year. You're paying almost $500,000 in taxes. And that money is going out of your pocket. Or you can move to places like Texas, which is super hot, Florida, which is super hot, or go to other places like, the UAE, you could go to Singapore, you go to Portugal. There's so many options nowadays. And especially with San Francisco, they lost almost 100,000 people at this point, and their population is only 800,000. Not to mention the Bay Area also lost tens of thousands of people. People are fleeing in droves. Nobody wants to be paying this crazy high income tax with crappy politics, high crime, high drug use, high homelessness, to the point that where even CVS has to put glass walls on toothpaste. These are just things that do not spark confidence. Now, on the other hand, if they did an amazing job, clean streets, amazing amenities, incredible transportation, absolutely, people would be willing to pay that high tax to live in the city, but not anymore. So what's going on is you do have the California governors. They talked about the budget last month, projected a $22.5 billion deficit. Now, apparently, $22.5 billion deficit is too sunny, with the LAO warning last week that the budget hole may be a lot bigger. Some people are saying that it could be 30, 35, even $40 billion deficit. Not great. Now, one of the reasons why they're so strapped for cash, they've always been kind of crappy politics in California, but this time they really, really hit the nail in the coffin. Because you have people, rich people, they want to stay, but you're making business extremely hard for them. Even Elon left because he said doing business in California was an absolute headache. If you just want to open a really, really simple restaurant in California, you don't know how many hurdles you have to jump through to open anything. You have the people looking at your plumbing, people looking at your electric wiring, people looking at the layout of your restaurant. There's so much stuff if you want to open just a simple restaurant in California, let alone try to expand your Tesla factory, let alone expand your tech company. It is a massive headache. Not to mention the taxes are crazy in San Francisco, and also coffee, $6-7. Come on, that's insane. So since 2020, ever since the start of the pandemic, people start noticing that they could work from home, and working from home not only was cheaper, not only did it make a lot of employees happy, but it also made money. That was the thing. Now, working from home was terrible. Nobody did anything. If it lost a bunch of money, then tech workers will move back to San Francisco. But no tech company is moving back. In fact, tech companies are downsizing. You also have a huge rise of shadow vacancies, which is kind of like vacancies with a tenant that's occupied, but that tenant is using way less space. So that means when the lease ends, the next time they're renewing it, it's going to be a lot smaller. So you also have more than 100 companies having relocated to Texas, and these amount of 40% of them are from California. Now, we are talking about massive companies here. We're talking about billion-dollar companies. And companies that are above $1 to $5 million in market cap, those guys are moving in thousands and thousands of numbers. You don't know how many U-Haul trucks. Tech workers are moving out. Small business owners are moving out. If you go through the streets of some of the hottest places in San Francisco, for example, you will notice incredible amounts of vacancies, vacancies that you've never seen before. Walk through the streets of San Jose. I mean, just go on YouTube right now and type in San Jose walking tour 4K, San Francisco walking tour 4K. It's actually pretty empty, with some of the finest storefronts being empty for once. It's crazy. Like pre-pandemic, commercial vacancies was 6%. Not exactly the best, but it's doable. Now vacancies are inching towards 40%. So 6%, 40%, that's about a 6 to 7 times increase. That's insane, considering the fact that if you look at Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Singapore, massive economic giants in Asia, their vacancies are in the low single digits, and their office spaces are leasing out for a lot of money. They're selling for a lot of money. And if you also check out this, commercial real estate in San Francisco is grappling with some pretty scary stuff. Now, if you look at the San Francisco skyline, you probably have noticed a lot of skyscrapers. They make a lot of their money from property tax and also the companies residing there. So if you have a lot of vacancies and skyscrapers losing 75 to 80% of its value, the city is not making any money. Same thing that's happening with LA. If you go to LA, you probably have seen a lot less rich people. People are leaving. I mean, sure, Jay-Z's moving in, but Kanye's moving out. You're also seeing a lot of companies, brands, everyone, they're leaving LA. Not to mention, all those mansions built during 0% interest rates, nobody wants these mansions. Now, if you go to Calabasas, if you go to Beverly Hills, you notice one thing, there's a lot of new construction, but nobody's buying. And in fact, any listing over $5 million have 0 buyers. Now, in LA, there's a lot of properties that are over $5 million. And the reason why there were only 2 transactions over $5 million in the past month was because of the brand new stamp duty tax for the wealthy. Meaning if you're rich and you're buying a luxury mansion that's over $5 million or a condo, you're going to have to pay an extra like 5 to 15% on top of that. Now here's the thing. LA is no longer the hotbed of real estate. Chinese buyers, they're not buying this anymore. Chinese buyers are going to places like Singapore, Australia, Thailand. They don't really want to go to LA anymore. And also you're implementing this crazy tax. Taxes like stamp duty should only be implemented if there's an overheating of the real estate market. LA is super cold, so I have no clue why they're doing it because they just killed off their luxury market in like a single day. And if you also look at this, LA's real estate market is frozen, putting mansion funds in a massive limbo. I guess you could say cry a little bit for the rich guys, but at the same time, a lot of rich guys don't want to buy in LA. People who can afford $5, $6, $7 million mansions, they're rich, but they're not like super rich. A lot of the guys who are purchasing those homes have a net worth of $15 to $30 million. Yes, it's a lot of money, but when they're asking them to pay another extra of $500,000 to $700,000 of extra in taxes, they're not going to LA to buy homes. They're going to go to places like Florida, which is a lot cheaper. They're going to, a lot of Americans and rich guys are going to Portugal because it's like a 4 or 5 hour flight from Manhattan to Portugal one way. It's awesome. Okay, so a lot of these rich guys, they don't have to buy in LA anymore, given the fact that these wealthy individuals, they most likely operate some businesses in California, but them themselves are not living in California. Not to mention, you also have a lot of people moving companies to little to no tax places like Monaco, the UAE, Singapore, Switzerland, all these other places. People are leaving this place in droves. Now, there's some companies that can't leave, but most companies are leaving. They're not dumb. As mentioned, you also have a lot of money being lost, billions and billions of potential revenue, which is really causing the reason why their deficit is blown up. They are owing a bunch of money. Who knows? Maybe the state will go bankrupt at this point. Unless they can really start getting things together, I think more people will leave. So thanks for watching, guys. Comment below and see you guys later.